hunting industry. They're lifting everything they can.
Right.
And that's not this organization. It is everything in general. I mean, the new cell cameras that are essentially security cameras. That's not ethical, but they're selling. Mm-hmm. So that's not what we're here to talk about, though. We were here to talk about what we left off on the last episode, which Kyle and I getting involved with recurve hunting. And there was a question that was brought up of, does hunting with the recurve now change the sized buck, the trophy aspect of it, that you're willing to shoot this year?
Being it's my first year, I'm not going to be picky.
Yeah.
But, I kind of look at it as like I'm starting, I won't say I'm completely starting over. How you start out, you just want to kill a deer. Mm-hmm. And you want to kill a buck. Then you want to, you kind of evolve into like shooting a buck, and then you want to tag out. And then you kind of go into that more down the management hole to where you're more about deer management and you are about, filling your freezer, antlers on the wall type deal.
Yeah.
But if I'm using the recurve, I'm not going to be. And at that point, to me, that's a pretty big accomplishment. Mm-hmm. So I don't care if it's a 4 or a 6 point this year. Yeah. The spike, I don't care. I'm gonna.
You're gonna be proud either way.
I am. Yeah. I'm gonna be very proud.
Are you only using recurve, or is that to be determined?
About 90% of the time. Like we had talked about, if it comes down like it was last year, hey, it's the end of October and I've had 5 or 6 opportunities where man, they're just outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'll bust out the crossbow. I don't care.
Right.
So on the trophy aspect, but before we touch into that, you asked me, and I was him-hawing on it, and I've been him-hawing on it since you asked me 2 weeks ago. And I think the only reference that I can bring up is the buck that I shot last year was a buck that I wanted out of the gene pool. He was a 3-year-old. He scored just shy of 130 if you're into that kind of thing. I never really have been since we started this podcast and hanging out with DJ. Score's been a little bit more on my mind. But in general, I've always tried to shoot a 3-year-old or older, and then I started getting into that 4 and 5-year-old age class for the last 5 years now, and that feels to me way better because one, the deer's bigger, you get more meat, but the antlers, I mean, when I look at the couple of 150s that I have on the wall, I spend a lot of time looking at those things, and I don't look at that call buck as much or in the same way, and I don't not enjoy having that animal on the wall. And he was a fun hunt, and I am appreciative for what he had to offer food-wise and what he had to offer for me to learn about myself as a hunter.
Right.
But I don't look at him like I do the others. And if I'm going to be pulling trigger or letting the arrow fly, I owe that animal the respect that I'm going to look at him the same.
Right.
So I think with the recurve, unless something changes, I think if it's going to be a buck, it's going to have to be that 4 or older age class.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you'll look at it. I think I'm going to look at it different because it's that you've taken a buck with traditional equipment. Mm-hmm. This is a whole different animal.
I shoot so many doe a year also that scratching that itch, it will be just as satisfying.
I guess that is fair. Yeah, you kill quite a bit of does.
Yeah, and you can go back on our YouTube videos, especially season 5, which is coming out early September this year. I shoot a couple of doe and I come completely unglued. And when I shoot my buck, granted, it was a call buck, and I kind of knew a whole bunch about this deer, and I figured I was going to have an encounter with him. I don't come nearly as unglued. I was way more excited about those doe.
Yeah.
So I think crossing that line with trad equipment, with a doe or a buck that I would proudly shoot with my compound, I think that's my goal.
Okay. Well, I remember last year too. You said we were talking about that piece of public that we were squirrel hunting on, and you said you had a nice little basket rack 8-pointer run out. Now, if you're on public land, that deer walks by, recurve in your hand. Do you take it?
Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Call me.
Yeah.
I'll come out there.
Shoot that guy.
Drop a pin. No,
Send a nuke at him.
and it's not an ego thing. And I mean, I could say 7 days a week. It's not an ego thing, but I think a lot of trophy hunting is foundationally somewhat egotistical. As the trophy hunter myself, I'm allowed to say that.
Well, I've always looked at it as like if you can consistently kill 4, 5, 6-year-old bucks,
Yeah,
you got something figured out.
yeah,
Like if you're after like if that's your game, you play it.
yeah,
You got to figure. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I like to shoot. I'll shoot 1,000 does if they would let me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to eat. I haven't killed a buck in. This will be the fourth season since
Yeah.
I've shot a buck. I don't care. I don't actively I don't pick a deer like that's the deer I want to shoot. It walks by and it gets my heart pumping. I'm going to take it. And like as I've gotten older, that quality of buck has increased. Like I no longer want to shoot the 85-inch 8-point. I want to hold out for something nicer, but it always doesn't happen. You know how it goes.
yeah.
And I'm not broken heart. I go into my seasons anticipating like, probably won't get the buck that I'm after, but I don't care.
Well, I used to be so afraid of not getting a buck every season based off of how I would view that as me not being successful. And granted, it had to be the right buck. I would always let 1 and 2-year-old deer walk. But if it wasn't a 3-year-old or older for a really long time, I felt like I wasn't successful. And I think I've matured out of that mindset. Part of that probably chasing that 4 and 5-year-old to where I know that that's the feeling that I want to feel with that single buck tag here in Ohio.
Right.
But in the same sense, I'm not going to let my equipment dictate just what that trophy's going to be.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't say the equipment, but the strategy leading up to that shot is what makes it.
Well, circling back to what Kris brought up. So you and I both said that we're pretty efficient at this point out to 20 yards.
Yeah.
And we were out there shooting prior to filming this podcast. And we both said 90% of our bow kills have been within 20, if not closer.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure most of mine have been within 15.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been subconsciously, like, unbeknownst to me, setting myself up for close shots for the trad bow.
Which is the goal of archery to begin with.
Yeah, like, I never understood why people were like, I shot this deer. He was at 67 yards. Cool, man. I shot a deer at 7.
Yeah.
He didn't even know I was there.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's a bigger, like, yeah, I mean, like, if you shoot a deer, if you can shoot deer at 16, 70 yards, like, I'm getting hats off to you. You are an amazing shot if you can pull that off. I never could. But I get more of a thrill of shooting them 15, 10, 7, 6 yards.
Absolutely.
That's a bigger thrill to me. It's like, man, I fooled you and I was right on top of you. And
Yeah.
you never even knew I was there.
Which is why I don't think, since we've been hunting like that for so long and having the majority of our kills, I can think of 2 deer archery-wise ever that I've shot over 25. And why, if that is the situation that we're putting ourselves in as hunters, which is the hard part, then why would I let that equipment dictate the trophy then? Because we're already putting ourselves within trad range in that 20 yards and under. Like I'm personally, and this took 2 weeks of our last podcast for me to actually come to this conclusion. I'm like, no, because we're already within recurve range.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep chasing that 4 and 5-year-old buck.
I'll be 100 yards down range shooting them 4 corns and 6-pointers all season.
Hey man, have at it. And when we go out of state, that first legal deer, I don't care.
Oh, I don't care if it's a 1-horn 3-point. I'm schlocking that thing.
And I've always had that mindset, which, I mean, we've debated on the podcast too. Like, you're going to someone else's backyard, technically not, it's public land, but just as a saying, and you're taking a lower class deer than what you would take in your home state. Is that really fair? I mean, and I think we all kind of concluded that you bought the tag, it's your tag, hunt how you want.
We've had that comment. Nobody owns the deer.
Yeah.
And you're paying more for that tag anyway because you're out of state.
Yeah, I'm paying more than the guys that live there.
Yeah.
But
And you have a limited time.
whatever argument you want to bring. It's nobody's deer. It's nobody's deer till you tag it.
Yeah.
Then it's your deer.
When you shoot your Forky 4 with your recurve, I'm gonna be as excited for you as I would be if you shot a 12 point.
I probably will shoot a 12 point now that you brought it up.
I hope you do.
Give CJ Alexander a run for his money.
Shoot like a 200 inch deer.
Yeah,
Your first deer.
I hope he shadows a 160.
Yeah, it's gonna have 3 horns and 6 legs and a 12-inch beard. He's gonna be giant. Boone and Crockett won't know what to do with this deer that I shoot this year.
Oh, shoot.
What is the Boone and Crockett mark? Does it start at 160 to where it's
160 is, I want to say, I think the all-time book is 180 typical.
180?
Yeah,
Okay.
160 is like Boone and Crockett. But like if you want to be in the book, I think it's what I think. I'm not sure. I know Pope and Young, his archery, I think that's 130 or 135.
Is it?
Yeah, substantially lower.
I watched a hunting video on YouTube. This guy shot a really nice public land Ohio buck, and this was probably the video came out 8 years ago, so I don't know if it was a shoot and release style video or not. But there's a bunch of comments saying you can't call that a booner. That's only 160. And I'm like, I feel like booner is like a phrase.
Yeah,
Like, oh, you shot a booner.
Minimum score is 160.
Is it?
yeah,
believe-
that's what I thought was
If
160.
ChatGPT is correct.
And then
I believe everything ChatGPT has to say,
I know you
especially
do.
when it builds out our format
Yeah,
for
it's
us,
true.
no matter what the charity is.
Right, exactly.
then like, well, I mean, I never got my rocks off. Like I've measured deer. I know how to measure deer. I've measured a lot of other people's deer, but like,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm not going to shoot him because I think he's going to go 127.
Yeah,
Like, no, I'm going to shoot him because I want to shoot him.
yeah.
Like if he makes it, he makes it. I'm never going to enter a deer. I'm not going to pay $40 or whatever the entry fee
Oh,
is.
no.
I have my name in a book that collects dust on 25 people's shelves. Like I'm probably not going to do that.
And if you have an all-time record or something?
Zero interest.
I mean,
for that.
it's different. Like, I'm not really big. Like me and Dad have talked a lot about this. Just a couple years back, I showed you pictures. We had a fairly big typical running around, probably like mid 180s
Yeah.
typical.
I
Yeah.
got seen pictures of that deer.
Yeah,
when I
he was like,
worked over there.
we shoot that. He's like, try to keep that as quiet as possible. And I was like, in complete agreement.
Yeah.
Not because of like, no, we were going to do anything sketchy. It's just like we've heard the horror stories of people shooting big deer, and then it just turns into a nightmare for them.
Yeah.
Where they-
Wasn't it marked on Onyx? It's marked on Onyx where
yeah, they do have a new system to where they're
where it's a
Trophy.
filter system or something.
Yeah.
And it shows you where all the Boone and Crockett bucks have been shot at.
must have been a liberal employee.
Right.